Interviews with business owners and veteran executives who share their wisdom and expertise to help you de-stress, free up time, and make more money. Profits of IT. Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. If you're looking to generate leads and appointments without cold calling, ad spend, or spamming, be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. Excited to have Jeff on with me today. Jeff, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a quick bit about your company, Catch Analytics.
Thanks, Jim. I'm happy to do that. My name is Jeff Lumpkin. I'm the founder and CEO of Catch Analytics, which is a Seattle-based consulting firm which helps organizations to use Power BI effectively.
And Jeff, what's something interesting about yourself outside of work?
I'm a inveterate world traveler, so I love to go different places in the world. I've lived in 3 different countries. One of those is Singapore for 2 years, Germany for 5 years, and then Kazakhstan for 1.5 years.
Of those, what has been your favorite country to live in?
They've all been fantastic in different ways. I think Singapore for the food and the local travel, Germany because of all the history and architecture and art that's available across Europe and so really available, and Kazakhstan because it was a wild place to be.
It sounds like they're very different places. I can't say I've been to any of those, so they sound like they probably have very interesting and each in their own unique ways.
Yes, and that's I just love to travel, and that's been my experience. Virtually every place I've been there's always something new to see or do.
I enjoy traveling myself. So, but anyways, what would you say is your superpower when it comes to business, or what do you contribute your success to, and how can others learn from that to be more successful themselves?
This may sound odd, but I think it's empathy. And it's the ability to listen to people and understand what their needs are and what will be useful for them, and then produce an analysis that satisfies those needs. And I think it's underrated as a skill because it's a very soft skill, but it's one that I've found to be useful ever since I started my career in technology.
So empathy. And if I'm not being very empathetic, I want to be more empathetic, and I guess utilize empathy more as a skill to be more successful. Do you have any tips for me to do that?
Well, I think one is I mean, the most important, the basis is listening and really trying to hear what's being said, and then taking that a step further and putting yourself in the shoes of the person who's speaking and trying to think, back 1 or 2 steps. Why are they saying this, and what pressures are they facing, or what needs do they have, and how do I relate what they're saying to what those underlying needs and pressures are. And then as I'm building out a report or an analysis in Power BI or in Excel, to design it in such a way that it meets those requirements. And I found that I've gotten better at it over time. So now, I can sit for an hour with someone. We'll talk about a report that they need, and I can go away for a week and come back, and I've gotten 80% of the way there. And the rest is just coming up with tweaks or adjustments to finalize that. But I credit that ability to get so far towards completion that quickly because of those empathetic skills I've worked on.
And what else is important to know about becoming better at empathy?
I think it's a desire to connect and a desire to be of service. And one of the things I learned at Microsoft was that the great leaders view themselves as in service to their employees. And when I'm working with a customer, with a client, I feel exactly the same way, that it's my role to be of service to them, to do whatever I can to make their lives easier, to make their projects successful, to make their careers successful, etc.
Got it. And what else is important to know about this topic of empathy and being more to getting better at utilizing it?
Well, I I think the role of people who do my type of job has changed over time. So when I finished my MBA and I started at Microsoft, I started as an analyst in the finance team. And at that time, Microsoft Finance was made up of accountants, and I was not an accountant, but my finance did accounting. They did all the books. And when I was hired, finance was beginning a transformation towards becoming more of an internal consulting organization. So the place where the leaders of a company would come to get advice on how to be more successful, either in driving sales or attracting and retaining customers or improving margins. And so we wanted to see ourselves more as the business partners who would make our leaders successful. And that involved a whole different set of skills compared to accountants.
Got it. And any final thoughts on this?
Well, I think that, you know, when I'm advising or coaching people who are in analytical roles, I say, one, become subject matter experts, you know, in the tools that you're working on. So Excel or SQL or Power BI or Tableau, whatever it is, become an expert in using that tool. But secondly, become an expert in the business and know the business as well as the people who manage the business. And then third is be willing to take risks when it comes to doing your job. So don't just provide a spreadsheet or a bunch of graphs, provide a solution. And the best analysts are people who identify problems and bring solutions to those problems to their business partners. And that's a skill that took a long time to develop across the finance team at Microsoft. But
That makes
it
sense.
proved vital in helping the company to transform.
And so you mentioned something to me, the term blue collar BI that you wanted to talk about. Tell me more about that and what's going on with that.
Sure. Well, you know, the genesis of blue collar BI is you know, comes from what I did at Microsoft. So I was an analyst, and over time I became more analytical, meaning I got better at summarizing information, identifying what was truly important, and then conveying both that information and solutions to problems that arose to business partners. And I identified people who did my job as the blue collar workers of the corporate world, the people who were deep in Excel and copying and pasting graphs into PowerPoint, just doing the grunt work to make the business run. And when Power BI came along, I was an early adopter at Microsoft because I saw it as a way to expand the capabilities and the ability to influence from within my blue collar cohort. And as I got so enthusiastic about Power BI and accomplished in it that I left finance and I joined the Power BI engineering team. And my role there was to work with Microsoft's customers to help them use Power BI effectively. And that meant that I would travel out from Redmond around the world to spend 1 or 2 weeks with customers and identify important projects. So work with executives to identify important projects and then help to develop their analytical teams to make those projects come true. And what I observed there was that, one, in every company, there were people doing the type of job I had done at Microsoft. So there were the blue collar corporate workers. And two, when Power BI was brought into organizations, it almost always went to those workers. And a lot of times they were ill prepared to use the tool because Power BI is not just an extension of Excel. There are a lot of concepts and underlying principles that are much different than Excel. And in order to really use Power BI effectively, understanding and mastering those concepts is absolutely necessary. So the purpose of blue collar BI is to help organizations use Power BI effectively by, one, helping executives to envision the way they want to use this tool and the way the company wants to use data, really more fundamentally. And then two, enabling the blue collar workers within the organization to understand and utilize the concepts that are necessary to use Power BI effectively.
Got it. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Jeff, what would be a good way of doing that?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. So Jeff Lumpkin at Catch Analytics. I can also be reached by email, jeff@catch-analytics.com.
Jeff@catch-analytics.com.
Yep.
So if you have any further questions, be sure to reach out to Jeff on LinkedIn or email. Well, Jeff, thank you for
Thank you very much,
being
Jim.
here today and sharing your great wisdom about empathy, and also sprinkling in some wisdom about BI.
My pleasure.
I enjoyed this time we've had together today.
Thanks very much.
And well, really thank you. And until next time on the Profits of IT, I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. If you're looking to generate new clients or partners without cold calling, ad spend, or spamming, be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com.
Thank you for tuning in to the Profits of IT. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and share.